Hi everybody, it's Az here from HeelvsBabyface. Now, I tend to deal with subscription-based MMORPGs, i.e. MMORPGs that cost money to play. But what is going to be contemporary? What's new and exciting and upcoming that's free to play? Now, there's been a bit of a buzz going around about Skyforge recently, and one of my friends, Camel Toast, was kind of like prodding and poking me to give it a crack. They'd got themselves a founders pack. I did the same. So when I started playing it, I actually rather enjoyed this, I've got to say. I found it very familiar. You start off on a spaceship, well, like a blimp, what appears to be in the middle of Coruscant. Now, the reason why I say that is I'm not a poking here, but a lot of this game feels familiar. I think there's a lot of kind of like pop culture references which go on within this game, and also there's a lot of homages played to other games, as we're going to see very shortly indeed. And you start off as, well, a rather cool robotic looking Roman centurion from the future, as if it's a Roman centurion from yesteryear mated with one of those robots from Destiny, and this is their offspring which has emerged from that. And one thing that was really cool from the get-go was when you interact with the NPCs, it was all voice acted. I do like that. I like immersion. Immersion is best done when it's voice acted. You know, when it's just text, people tend to skip text. When it's voice acted, I tend to find that I start to pay attention to what's going on in the screen, as opposed to just skipping through everything. So when you meet up with this woman, she wants to know your story because you, wait for it, are referenced as an immortal. Now, if you don't know what an immortal is, and kids at home, I am not advocating this, it's when you can't die. And the only way that this guy finds out he's immortal, guess what? Yeah, he dies. He dies and comes back from the dead. Now, you are recanting your story about how you discovered about your immortality. So at the moment, when this starts, you just think you're regular Joe. And this is another reference. I saw this scene where they're in the train and they're pulling into the station, and my brain just went, boosh, Final Fantasy VII. I think there's been a very, very clever bit of putting together for these opening sequences. With the start looking like you're in Coruscant from Star Wars, that train scene looking like it was straight out of Final Fantasy VII. I think this game is almost trying to build a sense of familiarity within you. It's always trying to build that comfort. Stuff which you love, stuff which you've had such an affinity to for a long time, and it works for me because it drew me into the game with those kind of references so poignantly in my brain. I was like, yeah, okay, I'm enjoying what I'm doing. So we're recanting our story. We go to a small town, and I like the graphics to start with. I thought the light was very nice. It had kind of like almost like a dusk type of situation where the sun was coming across, the shadows were good. I started to fiddle with my settings here and try and map some keys. One thing I wasn't keen on was I couldn't map the keys the way I wanted to map the keys. I play MMORPGs in a very specific way, and I like to have my setup like so. I was quite surprised that I couldn't map anything to my mouse, because I do like to map my jump buttons and my auto runs and such like that to my mouse. And instead of being your typical MMORPG where the mouse roams free around the screen and you can point and click and interact with stuff, your mouse actually does your interacting. It does pretty much all turning, fighting, etc, etc. So I think it's got more of a likeness to a game such as Terra than it has to something like World of Warcraft or Final Fantasy XIV Online. That said, though, it didn't deter my enjoyment of the game. It was just me having to make a few adjustments, especially with the way that the mouse controlled pretty much everything going on at the screen. Now, when you're doing this beginning segment, you're not getting any experience points. This is really just to allow you to get familiar with how combat works, which is, at this stage, just using your left and your right mouse buttons. Front mouse buttons. So you can literally spam them as your heart's content and smash stuff down. But one thing I did realise, especially when I had those like 3 enemies around me, it was very fluid. It was very easy to switch from one enemy to another. You weren't having to tab target. You're just kind of like turning and swishing once you're kind of locked onto them. There is an official lock-on button if you want, but you just kind of really have to look at them, and it's sort of like, yeah, okay, that guy's a villain. You kind of locked onto this guy. Have a swish swash, and everything seems to be cool. You know, we got rid of them, and then we saved the villagers, and then all hell breaks loose. This guy comes along, and he's clearly been to the zoo, and he's let everything out. Who let the dogs out? And we get a little bit overrun. But this was rather cool. Another pop culture reference, as we seem to be doing quite a bit of 300-y going on here, which fit really well considering the guy looks like a Roman centurion. So once more, it's just this whole familiarity, but at the same time, it was so well done. I mean, it wasn't just felt like a cheesy rip-off. It didn't feel like that at all. It was like, yes, this is a reference. This is saying, hey, remember 300? Remember how you like that? And it was very well, you know, the motion is very good. It's very fluid. And then you get stabbed to death. Then you get stabbed to death. And, yeah, this is where you kind of start to discover that you're immortal. Now, I'm chuckling away here. But this is a pretty darn dark beginning, really, isn't it? You know, you've just seen yourself getting hacked to death. Your body's been thrown on a pile of dead villagers. Yeah, this is pretty dark stuff. But then suddenly, the light, it infuses you and you come alive again. This is how you discover that you're immortal. Hey up, folks! I'm not dead! Everyone else is dead, I'm not dead. So this is now when we're going into our first proper tutorial. We get the storyline. So the storyline so far has been pretty engaging. I've sort of been involved and I've taken on board what's going on, and I'm quite enjoying it. And now, though, we're kind of going to get the proper tutorial because we've just discovered that we're immortal. We can now start to do things like get experience, I think a couple of experience points, and also loot. So now that the enemies are going to start to drop loot, all you have to do is press the space bar. You auto loot. It can be some credit. It might be an item. You know, the normal kind of standard fare with an MMORPG. Even surrounded by a good many of those enemies, again, you just have to turn in the general direction that they're in and then start swishing away. And they were dealt with in pretty easy fashion. I didn't know if that was something to interact with. But here we go. We've got more storyline now. Again, all voice acted. Now, that's the guy that set all the nasties offers. And once more, we get another 300-esque cutscene. I don't think I can get bored of these. No, I don't think I can. I really like the animation style. I really like the way that it's done. I think the storytelling so far has been pretty cool. It's got me involved. I am interested here. You've got me. You know, my attention has been grabbed. And then whoosh, you kind of do like a big combo move. This is like your big move that you could do to start with, which is a big AoE which wipes everything out. So even through storytelling, it's already kind of setting you up for what you're going to be able to do with this specific character, because there are other jobs or roles or whatever you want to call them that are going to be coming into effect rather soon. So now we have some other aspects as well. If you double tap the WASD, depending on which direction you want to go, if you double tap it, you will kind of like do that dash in that direction. And if you look at my health bar just down at the bottom of the screen to the right of it, you'll notice it's got like a symbol of me dashing and then times X. So you can get yourself, when that starts to fill up, so I've got 1 times 1, so I can do a dash should I wish to. And then what I did there is I allowed the enemies to start coming around me. Then I did my big AoE button and killed them all off with one foul swoop. So I was like, right, you know, because I saw it in the cutscene that I had access to the button. I decided to do so. So the fight moves on to another room. He tries to use some horrible, like, that straight out, it's like Diablo, isn't it? It's like the grabbing hands in Diablo from the Witch Doctor. So again, more familiarity. You know, the game is really trying to make you feel at ease with a new IP, yet at the same time have a familiar feel to everything. So you don't feel as if, okay, this is a new game. Okay, I can sort of give or take it. When things are familiar to you, psychologically, you're more inclined to kind of go along with it. That's very clever psychology, if you ask me. So once more, with these bigger enemies, they tend to have bars and bars, and you've got to smash through one bar, and that unlocks the next bar down to smash through that, which unlocks the next bar, and then boom, we've managed to take care of the nasty, nasty man. So that was like the opening tutorial. You get yourself a nice little reward for doing so, 3,000 odd credits. I imagine that's going to be like the currency in the game. And it was just a very interesting and cool way to start the game. So what I'm going to do is going to bring you some more videos throughout the course of the week, go through the different classes, have a look at some PvP, go into more story. And what was even cooler for me is I actually got contacted by the people that did this, and they said, would you like to have a code for Skyfall to play it? And I was like, well, I'm actually already playing it. So they said, would you like to therefore have some codes for your fan base then? And I said, yes. So I've got 5 codes, 5 foundation codes to give away, because this is now an open beta, but the foundation packs, I think they give you some extra goodies and whatnot. All you have to do to get your hands on one of these, I'm going to give one away with each video, is just subscribe to my channel, put a comment down below, and I'll pick a random winner, and I'll announce that random winner in the next Skyforge video, which will be coming tomorrow, when I'm going to go through the classes. So I hope you enjoyed the vid. Let me know what you guys and gals think in the comments down below. Also give this a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Follow me on Twitter and Facebook and all that social media gubbins. Those links are in the description down below. And while I bounce around the place, I will be back with some more stuff very soon. You take care, everybody. Bye-bye.